Today on the channel, in honor of 8,000 subscribers, we're going to do it, the Macho Man Randy Savage Top 10. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for a special video today. It is in honor of 8,000 subscribers to the channel. We're going to do the Macho Man Randy Savage Top 10. Normally these are a top 5 list, but every time we hit a milestone, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 subscribers, guess what? We're going to do one of the heavy hitters, and instead of just the normal top 5 list, we're going to do a top 10 list just to celebrate, just to do it. And Macho Man is a figure you can easily do a top 10 figures with, so that's exactly what we're going to do today. But thank you guys for subscribing to the channel. If you have not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Hit the old notification bell, give the old video a like. Follow me on social media at SirPaul64 on Twitter, _Kyle_Peterson on Instagram, so you don't miss a beat. And this is 8,000. Once we get to 9,000 subscribers, planning on doing Hulk Hogan. 10,000 subscribers, The Ultimate Warrior. So we'll get a few more top 10 lists in us. There's a lot of characters. Stone Cold, The Rock, Mankind. There's a lot we could do top 10s of. And I'll try to save a lot of those for some of the special occasions. And we'll fill out the top 5s with all kinds of other things. And maybe branch out from not just wrestling related, but maybe do some other lines. And we're always taking requests. I've heard a lot of them out there. A lot of the usual suspects. And we'll get to them all. But today, it's all about the Macho Man Randy Savage. And we're going to start it off with number 10. And number 10 is a little bit of a cheating, is a little bit of a cop-out. I don't know if a cop-out's the right word. I don't know what we'll call it, but it's not necessarily a figure. And number 10 for me is Macho Man Randy Savage Slim Jim store display. Yes, you heard it right, the store display. Now, not quite a figure, not quite a statue, more of a convenience store Slim Jim display. That's what it is. But this is so awesome. This thing really swept the nation. Was it summer of 2019 when this started hitting stores? People were stealing this thing all over gas stations all over the country because they're not for sale. And I actually, true story, outside of college, right as I graduated for college, guess who worked for Slim Jim? Yeah, me. ConAgra Foods. I did help out on the Slim Jim account for a while. I'm in charge of Walmarts throughout the Midwest, so it was a great time. Learned a lot about Slim Jims, learned a lot about Slim Jim rotation. You gotta always check your dates on those Slim Jims, I'll tell you that much. But Slim Jim, I wish this promotional stuff was going on during my time with Slim Jim, because, oh, I'd be saying, hey, I think I need one of these for my personal collection. And these were extremely hard to get for a while. Like I said, there was a lot of theft from convenience stores. There were some lucky people that went into a convenience store and said, hey, is there any way I could have this? Or, hey, could I buy every Slim Jim in here and just take this with me? Some people were lucky enough to get that. I know my wife and I both tried to get it. There was 2 gas stations in my area we tried to get, and the lady that managed that gas station was just not going to let it go for anything. Apparently she would be fired and all this kind of stuff. It's like, oh, come on, I'll buy every Slim Jim in this store if I can get this. And she would not do it, but that's the way it goes. But then a little later on, they went up for sale on Amazon, of all places. And Slim Jim was smart enough to say, hey, we can make some money off these. And that's exactly what they did. I ended up getting mine off Mercari very early in the game, before they were up to the $400 or $500 level. I want to say I paid like $150, which seemed like a ridiculous amount. Still seems like a ridiculous amount, but this thing is so cool. It sits on my big entertainment center around my TV. It's just a cool conversation piece. And when people come into my basement and they take a tour of my collection, this is one thing that always comes up in conversation and one thing that always catches their eye. So not quite a figure, but I'm going to count it at number 10. It's, you know, number 10, right at the top. But I just think this thing is tremendous, and it's a really cool conversation piece. And that's why I like it so much. That's the little story on this one, and that's why it is number 10 in my Macho Man Randy Savage countdown. All right, we're at the number 9 spot. Make sure you guys get your list together at home. I want to see your guys' top 10, and like always, you got to put them in order. It's very easy to do a top 10 list, but it gets really hard when you have to put them in order number 1 through 10. So make sure you're putting yours together. Put it in the comments below. But now we're at number 9. Number 9 is one of the most iconic Macho Man figures of all time. Some people will probably say this is a little too far down my list. But I got my reasons. And you got your reasons. That's why it's my list. But we're talking about Macho King Randy Savage from the Hasbro line. Beautiful, beautiful figure. The second Macho Man figure, as we all know, the iconic first one. Spoiler alert, that might come up a little later in this video. But this one is really cool. I do like this one. I don't like it quite as much as the other one. And there is two versions of this one. There is the one that says Macho King on the back and the one that does not. This does come with the crown and the scepter, which was really cool to get accessories back in the day. I still remember getting this back in the day at my local Target store. I remember the NFL draft was going on that day. For whatever reason, I remember that. I remember getting this figure at Target. I also got an Ozzy Osbourne cassette that same day. What a trip to Target that was for little Kyle. Getting some Ozzy, getting some Macho King. Just what a time to be alive. But a very, very cool Macho figure. One of the better Hasbro figures as far as playability-wise. I always thought this was a good one. This type mold was reused a lot with the bend at the elbow. Very solid figure. Very solid Macho Man figure. And that is why he is at number 9 on my top 10 list of the Macho Man figures. All right, we've come to the number 8 spot, and number 8 is a bit of a sleeper figure. And the first time we're venturing into Mattel in the Macho Man countdown here. We're talking about then, now, and forever, Macho Man Randy Savage, WCW, late career Macho Man. I like this one a lot because it's the only representation of the final days of his career, the total end of his career. I know he was in TNA for a quick, maybe one episode of TNA, maybe. But this is really what you think of when you think of end of the road, end of Macho Man's career. This is our only figure representation in this form. I can see people also using this as Bonesaw McGraw and the Spider-Man crossover if you wanted to do something like that. But just a really neat figure and so different than all the other Macho Mans. We're used to the big robes and the hats and the really colorful stuff. But to get him in his black, later day WCW stuff, I thought was really cool, and it's a really needed figure. And I would not be opposed to more Macho Mans in this kind of style related. Maybe get him with the mesh shirts and stuff like that. I love the Macho Man colorful ones, but I think there's a place for these Macho Mans as well. And that's where we got this as a Walmart exclusive back in the day. But a sleeper figure, and I think one a lot of people have forgotten about or maybe didn't know about. But it definitely deserves to be a part of any Macho Man collection out there. And that's why he made my list. All right, we're at number 7, and number 7 is one of the most iconic figures of the last few years via Mattel. Not just of Macho Man, but any figure of Mattel. This one really broke the internet, some might say, and it's a callback to the number 10 one on my list. I think you guys know where I'm going. It is the Slim Jim Macho Man Randy Savage. It is amazing how crazy everybody was about this figure. It still is about this figure. I do have 2 of these. I have one in the box still. I have one open that we have right here. I'll never forget this going up on Entertainment Earth's website. San Diego Comic-Con weekend a few years back. I was traveling for work, and I was in the middle of nowhere in the Midwest. I could barely get cell reception, and I was fighting to try to get into Entertainment Earth to be able to order this. I didn't think my order went through, and then all of a sudden it did go through. So one of those sweating it out in your car moments, trying to get signal on your phone, and luckily I did get this one. And this one is still commands a pretty good price on the aftermarket, as it should. Very iconic figure, very cool with the Slim Jim packages here. And like I said, I worked for Slim Jim for a brief time after college, right? First job out of college, really. So it was interesting, and I always loved Slim Jim and all this, and I loved the tie-in with the Ultimate Warrior Macho Man, so it was really cool to bring it full circle. And it kind of represents my career a little bit, plus also Macho Man and Slim Jim, the iconic commercials and all that stuff. So there's a lot to like about this one. I also always felt this was a perfect San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, a one-off figure. It's not for everybody, but I think it's for a lot more people than it's not. But San Diego Comic-Con figures are always ones that maybe don't fit in a regular retail release line. It's got to be off the wall, something to deep cut, something for the hardcore fans, because that is who's buying San Diego Comic-Con stuff. Little Johnny that's 6 years old that collects figures, these kind of things aren't for him. I mean, I'm sure he would love to have this stuff, but he doesn't understand all the pop culture references and all that kind of stuff about a figure like this. And that's the beauty of the San Diego Comic-Con. And we just saw this week Sergeant Slaughter Ljn Gi Joe throwback. That is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, much like this Slim Jim Macho Man. So Slim Jim Macho Man, very cool, very near and dear to my heart, and a favorite and a top one on my top 10 list. All right, we've come to the number 6 spot in our top 10 Macho Man figures, my top 10. Get your list and put it in the comments below. But number 6, could very well be on a lot of your guys' list. I gotta think it's on the majority of people's list, and I would not be shocked if somebody has this as number 1 or even number 2. For me, it's number 6, and we're talking about LJN Macho Man Randy Savage. So there it is right there. For whatever reason, you guys know we've talked about it on the channel before, LJNs were my gateway into wrestling figures. I had almost all the LJNs as a kid, have them all now, and I love the LJNs. A lot of people, if you weren't there, younger kids coming up, kids that were born in the 90s and stuff, I understand they don't understand the time frame of the LJNs. They think, oh, big rubber, no articulation. Back then, you didn't know any different, and this is what we had, and we played so many battles, so many matches with these figures over the years. I absolutely loved this Macho Man. However, I did not love him as much as a lot of people did. I had a lot of friends that this was their champion. This was their figure in their LJNs. For me, it really wasn't, and I don't know why, because I liked the Macho Man well enough as a kid growing up, but this was never a world championship contender figure in my LJN playing days. He was fighting for the Intercontinental title, maybe sometimes like that, maybe even some tag team matches, but for whatever reason, he wasn't a top guy in my LJN Fed, and I don't really understand the reasoning why. You know, that white and red shirt Hogan's were my favorite, with Ultimate Warrior, of course, Warlord, Andre the Giant, and I always had those guys kind of as my championship circle a little bit. Big John Studd, Bundy, some of those guys. And Macho was down there always fighting Steamboat, maybe Jake the Snake, Honky Tonk Man, stuff like that. A great figure, an iconic figure. I'd have to say, too, if you think of LJNs, you close your eyes. We always say, you think LJNs. A lot of people are thinking that number 1 Hogan, but this one's right there with it. They think of that Hogan and Macho Man. And it's just really weird, and I can't put my fingers on it why I don't like this one more. It just is what it is for me. I don't know. I can't explain it, but it's still a very iconic figure, and it's still an iconic Macho Man figure to me, and that's why he came in at the number 6 spot. All right, we're at the halfway point. We're at the number 5 top Macho Man figures of all time as voted by me. Put your list in the comments below, but number 5, a year and a half, maybe prior to the Slim Jim Macho, it seems like most modern day collectors of Mattel, and we're going back to Mattel for this one, would tell you this is their favorite Macho Man. It seemed like there was such a buzz about this figure for a long time, where this was really a holy grail Macho Man figure. It's cooled off a little bit in the last few years, but still a popular one, still an iconic Macho Man figure. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about Macho Man Mattel Defining Moments, WrestleMania 7 edition. There he is right there. Also got this, as you guys know, I'm part of the Double Up Club on the Defining Moments figures. I got to have one in the box and one opened. I love this figure a lot. Represents Macho Man's probably his greatest match of all time against the Ultimate Warrior. You know, he just couldn't beat the Warrior, though, but not many can beat the Warrior. He's so good. He's the best of all time. And, you know, Macho Man retired, Ultimate Warrior retired the Macho Man in that match, as I always like to say. But very, very cool. Represents the gear from that night. It was quite the night. Macho Man's career kind of going full circle a little bit. Elizabeth coming back, breaking up with Sherry, losing to the Warrior, of course. But it truly is a defining moment in Macho Man's career. Sometimes we're defined by our losses, I guess we would say out there. It makes you stronger. It makes you come back better, and that's what he did when he got reinstated by Jack Tunney to take on Jake the Snake Robert after that crazy Cobra incident. Check out the Jake Roberts top 5 on the channel from a couple of weeks back. Very cool video there, and Jake Roberts very underrated in the figure game as well. But like I said, this is a holy grail item for many people out there, especially the Macho Man fans. And a couple years ago, this seemed to be talked about all the time as this is the one I need. I'm a Macho Man collector. I'm getting Macho Man figures. This is the one I need to get. And it's funny, these defining moments, a lot of times you could find these on clearance back in the day. They really didn't set the world on fire like a lot of people. Kind of time has written the past a little bit, and everybody kind of thinks these were hard to get. The majority of the defining moments you could even get on clearance. They just didn't fly off the shelves for whatever reason, but now they're very iconic, and I do feel that the defining moments, how they have skyrocketed in price over the years, made a lot of people think the same way about the Ultimate Editions, and that's why got a lot of people going completist on the Ultimate Editions, because very much like Defining Moments, they were only released maybe 2 at a time. Ultimate Editions 2 at a time. Kind of feels like the successor of the Defining Moments are the Ultimate Editions. So a lot of people are saying, I see what these prices are. I'm jumping into the Ultimate Editions because I've seen that. And actually, hey, it's working out for a lot of people. As some of those ones like Ultimate Warrior and Ronda Rousey, well, not Ronda so much, but the Ultimate Warrior, skyrocket. But that thing went to clearance at my Target. I can't believe it. Ultimate Warrior on clearance, that should never happen. That's a travesty injustice in its own right. But the Defining Moments, Ultimate Editions, Subline Series, deluxe style figures, a little special packaging, always going to go through the roof over time. And especially a character like Macho Man Randy Savage, and that's why he comes in at number 5. All right, we're at the number 4 spot, and this is going to be the sleeper of the top 10. I guarantee a lot of you guys forgot about this one, or it's nowhere near your top 10 list. But for me, you guys know what I like. You guys know. Number 4, Macho Man Randy Savage, then, now, and forever. Walmart exclusive, part of the 3-pack with Sting and Lex Luger. What do I like about this one? I do love the neon colors, that's for sure. But he's got face paint on, and you guys know I'm a sucker for face paint. I should really move this to the number 1 spot, really, with the face paint on there. I like to say he learned how to paint his face from the Ultimate Warrior, but it was probably Sting helping him a little bit on this one because they were a team. But very Ultimate Warrior-esque face paint here. He's got really Ultimate Warrior face paint in tribute to the guy that beat him and retired him, and then Jack Tunney had to make that personal call to the Ultimate Warrior to say, can I let him back? And Warrior was nice enough to say yes. That's at least how I remember it. Somebody can fact check that. You guys know how it goes. But very cool. Just Macho Man. So different. And I love different. I love off-the-wall figures. And him in face paint, especially Ultimate Warrior type face paint, takes this one to another level. Love the neon pink and green. Very 90s. Early 2000s, late 80s, really. There's about a 10-year span where neon like this was all the rage. And for some people, it still is all the rage. I did get an aftermarket Macho Man t-shirt on here. I just felt it was really cool to put this on. Kind of classed it up a little bit. Took this Elite to the next level. But I love it. I love the face paint. I'm a sucker for guys in face paint. Imagine if this was a big figure. I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably fall out of my chair right now. But number 4, a sleeper. Then, now, forever 3-pack Macho Man Randy Savage. All right, we're at the number 3 spot, and number 3 is one I only have on card, and it is a Mattel Elite figure. I have not been able to open this one up. I need to get this out of the box. I just haven't been able to pull the trigger yet. And we're talking number 3, Ringside Collectibles exclusive, Macho King Randy Savage. Yes, there it is, in package. I've just never opened this one up for whatever reason. I have no idea. I had a minty one on card, and then our old pal, friend of the channel, David C. Anderson, was selling this one a little bit more damaged. I said, you know what? I'll buy this one from you. I'm going to sell my minty mint one and make some money because I'm planning on opening it eventually anyways. I'd rather open up a damaged one than a minty mint one. So I made a lot of money on that minty mint one. Then I bought this one from David, and I have yet to unbox it. It's got some beat up spots on it, but for some reason, I just can't bring myself to unbox it. I have 2 Mattel Elites. I have a complete Elite collection, as you guys know, surrounding this whole thing. Take a view of my room tour if you want to see more on that. But I have 2 Elites that I have never unboxed, and this is one of them. And one of these days, I will. I don't know if we should do it on the channel when we hit, like, 100,000 subscribers. Really dangle that carrot. Something that probably never going to happen. But I don't know. I'd like to open this, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Keep playing that long game. I'm waiting to see if I find a loose one, maybe at a big deal somewhere at a toy store or something, and then I could maybe just sell this. For some reason, I just feel weird about opening it. I don't know what it is, but this is number 3 for me. Ringside Collectibles had some amazing Macho Man exclusives, some amazing exclusives all around over the years, be it Jakks or Mattel. And, of course, use discount code Kyle, save 10% at ringsidecollectibles.com. But just something about this Macho Man, the old-school Hall of Fame gear. It's interesting this went as a store Ringside internet exclusive because we all know this would fly off the shelves. Macho Man is a king. We later did get a Target exclusive Macho Man Hall of Fame. More of the neon gear with the crown and stuff. So that did scratch the itch for some people that missed out on this one. But I got to think this is viable for a re-release here one of these days. Maybe an Ultimate Edition Macho King figure. I could see that possibly happening. But I got to think there's a way to get this figure back out there because it is one of his most iconic looks in the WWF, WWE, whatever we're going to call it. So I do think a lot of people missed out on this and would love another chance to get an updated one, maybe a more improved one. That would bring down the value of this one, as we know how that goes, but that's kind of the game of action figures. These companies want your money. I always say it. You know, it's great that we like this one and we love the value of it, but if Hasbro, Mattel, whoever we're talking about, thinks they can make some more money, they're not opposed to a re-release. They love their collectors, but they love the money and the bottom line, and as they should. It is a business. It's not a non-profit, so there you go. But number 3 for me, Ringside Collectibles exclusive, Macho King Randy Savage, who came in at number 2. All right, we're down to the end. We're at the number 2 spot, and once again, we go back to Mattel. Once again, we go back to Ringside Collectibles with the Ringside Collectibles exclusive Macho Man Randy Savage NWO edition. Yes, NWO Macho Man, one of the most important times of his career in WCW. WCW champion as a member of the NWO. Just a big-time deal in the NWO, the Macho Man. Even joining the Wolfpack later on. And we talked about a different WCW Macho Man figure more at the back end of the list. But this one comes in at number 2 for me. It is NWO Macho Man. Man, this is one a lot of people have missed out on, and a lot of people are clamoring for another release. Once again, they could very easily make an Ultimate Edition Macho Man Randy Savage in NWO gear, or maybe a new Elite, something like that. You're not going to get this in a mainline Elite, I don't think. Macho Man figures rarely, I don't think they've ever been in a regular Elite line. They're always in a Target or a Walmart or a Ringside Collectibles exclusive, and we've discussed the reasons for that on the channel numerous times as well. But this one is one a lot of people missed out. A lot of people, this is a glaring hole in their NWO collection. Just like that Macho King we talked about in the last one, this one I have to think will get a re-release one of these days. There'll be another chance to get this somehow. It just makes all the sense in the world. There's too many people that want this. At the end of the day, Mattel wants your dollars. They're going to find a way to get this back out. It'll have some updates, maybe a soft goods shirt, different head scans, something like that. There's just no way around it. They're going to get this back out. We see the current Hall of Fame line, or Legends line, I should say, at Target. We're getting a throwback to an earlier Macho Man updated. I could see them doing the same thing with this in one of those lines, or like I said, a Ringside Collectibles exclusive again. But a very cool Macho Man, a must-have Macho Man. If you're a hardcore Macho Man collector, you have to have this in your collection. NWO Macho Man, so iconic, looks so good. And it's a pricey one, as we all know, especially mint on card. It gets to be crazy pricey. But it's a very cool figure, a very solid one. And I personally do feel we will get an updated one of this one probably in the next year or two. I just think there's too much money on the table. So that's number 2, the Ringside Collectible NWO Macho Man. Now it's time for number 1. Are you ready? All right, we've come to the number 1. The number 1 position, Macho Man Randy Savage figures, my top 10 list. Make sure you give me your top 10 list in the comments below. But number 1, I'm sure a lot of you guys have done the math out here. You guys have figured out what my number 1 is. Pretty easy to do. And it is Macho Man Randy Savage Hasbro. The first Macho Man Hasbro figure. So iconic. I always say when I close my eyes, who do I think of when I'm thinking of these lists? And this is what I think of for Macho Man Randy Savage. I had so many years playing with this one as a little kid, just absolutely loving it. And even over that other Macho that came later with the King, I still would go back to this Macho Man because I love the playability. I feel like off the top of my head right now, this is the best mold Hasbro ever had. I love the Martel, I love the Shawn Michaels, the Jannetty that they put in this. It's just one of the greatest playability-wise Hasbro molds they had. You could do the elbow drop, you could do high-flying moves. Just an iconic figure, iconic body style that just lended itself to great playability, and I loved this Macho Man from the word go. I always pretended he had brass knuckles on because of his wrist tape that wasn't painted. I always pretended that was brass knuckles one of my playing days, so I had a lot of fun with this one. It's funny, you guys probably say, well, Kyle, the LJN was so low on your list. What was the reason? That was your first Macho Man. It was playability and all this stuff, the years you played. It's true, and I still can't put my finger why that LJN one, I just never resonated with me, even as a little kid, where this one did. This was my Macho Man in my playing days. I used the King a little bit, but I'd always defer back to this one. Something about this figure is very special, and it is one of the most iconic Hasbro figures. You got to put it up with that first Warrior, that first Hogan, just iconic figures. And this one will always be special to me, and that's why it's number 1 on my list. A very, very solid Hasbro, and very easy to get, too. These aren't the hardest figures in the world to get, the Hasbros. They've shot up in value, but these were produced at such levels, especially the Macho Man, Hogan's, Warriors. You can find them around if you got to get a deal, and I feel like this is one of those iconic figures that really everybody should have in their wrestling figure collection. No doubt in my mind there, and that is part of the reason he is number 1 on my list. But I'm going to turn it to you guys. What is your top 10 list? Who is your number 1? You got to put them in order. Put it down in the comments below. Like I said, this is the 8,000 subscriber special edition. We did a special top 10 for 8,000 subscribers. Once we hit 9,000 subscribers, we're going to do a top 10 Hulk Hogan. So be prepared, get your list, start getting it together. I don't know how long it'll take to get to 10,000 subscribers. It might be, 6 months for all I know. Might be a year, it might never happen. Who knows? But the power is your guys' hands. If you're watching this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the old notification bell. Don't forget to like this video. Most importantly, don't forget to give me your top 10 in the comments below. And then follow me on social media at SirPaul64 on Twitter, _Kyle_Peterson on Instagram, as I'm churning out and posting a lot of stuff every single day that I think you might find of interest. So there it is, the Macho Man Randy Savage Top 10, a special video for 8,000 subscribers, a fun one to do, and one that really makes you think, because he's had a ton of figures. It's interesting, you know, Jax, he did not get a Jax figure. Imagine if he got Jax figures, how big this collection would be. If he was available to Jax, we probably would have had 10 more Macho Mans at least. But it just wasn't in the cards, and very interesting. Luckily, Mattel did get his likeness and be able to use Macho Man stuff. And if they did not, I don't know where we'd be with Macho Man. It would be one of the biggest glaring holes, one of the biggest miscarriages of justice in all wrestling figure land. But at least Mattel has picked up the torch and are giving us a fairly regular clip of Macho Man figures. So there it is for the Macho Man Randy Savage. I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.